iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. That's right. The office is open to take a look at some baseball news and see what's going on here. So first of all, Josh Bell cleared to hit off a tee. I'm happy to hear about that. I like Josh Bell. He's a guy that I probably will be talking about throughout the season. He's most likely going to be the Pirates' first baseman, and I'm a fan. But still dealing with a knee issue. May not be ready for opening day. It's going to be close. Remember, this gives you a buying opportunity. Why? There are some guys in your league, especially home leagues, maybe not as much in expert leagues, but in your home leagues, the second they read, so-and-so is going to miss the first 2 weeks of the season, boom, immediately drops the value. And I was in a league like that once. I remember that Albert Pujols was injured, and I got him at a huge discount, maybe $10, $12. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm thinking, they just didn't want to pay for it because they saw I was injured. You have to trust that. And this happened to me years ago when I first started playing fantasy baseball. There was a guy named Carlos Delgado from the Blue Jays who was supposed to miss the first month of the season. Now, Carlos Delgado, back in the day, used to hit 35, 40 home runs. He was a big, strong, power-hitting first baseman. And sure enough, one of my friends gets him for $1. And I said to myself, $1 at the end of the draft, and nobody wanted to touch him because he was going to be out. My friend gets him and ends up winning the league. And not only does he have that, he has Carlos Delgado as a $1 trade chip. I mean, so at that point I learned, hold on a second, an injury might lead to a buying opportunity, right? An injury absolutely can open the door for a discount, which is a buying opportunity, which helps you. Okay, Max Scherzer may not be the opening day starter. He's dealing with a stress fracture in the knuckle of his right ring finger. And I'm just trying to imagine that. I don't even know how that happens. I really don't even know how that happens, but it happened to Max Scherzer. And he may not be there for opening day. Because you would assume that Max Scherzer is the opening day starter. So I asked this question. Does this devalue pitching or make it more valuable? The first thing I'll ask is this. Now with Alex Reyes gone, right? Now with Alex Reyes gone, and now with Max Scherzer not quite 100%, two more great pitchers lose value. Reyes loses all kinds of value. Does Scherzer go to a second-round pick? Maybe he does. He was going in the late first. Does he go in the second round? I would argue that he might. Does it make the other pitchers more valuable? Does it make Kluber and Sale and Syndergaard and all those guys more valuable? Or do people go, you know what? I just don't trust pitching altogether. I want no part of it. I think it could go either way. I really do. I think it could go either way. So be very careful. Now, hitters, they get oblique injuries. They get hamstring pulls. They get calf strains, right? Adrian Beltre, the grade 1 calf strain. They get all sorts of things. I don't like calf strains. A calf muscle is a twitch muscle. You need that muscle to explode, right? You're at the batter's box. You swing, crack the bat, boom, you hit the ball. You've got to get to first base. What do you need? You need your calf muscles. Don't like to see a strain in the calf muscle. I really don't. Those tend to get worse, not better. But with pitchers, you see them blowing out their elbow. Right? You don't see obliques. You see blowing out the elbow, done for the year. It's pretty hard, pretty major. Also goes to show you why you might want to have on your reserve squad a couple of live arms. You might just need them. You might just need those pitchers toward the end of the season because guys go down all the time. I don't know. I'm going to over-under it this year with 15 people going in for Tommy John surgery. 15. Seems high, right? But maybe it's not. We already have one. I only need 14 to go. Hopefully I'm not right about that. I don't want to be right. I'd rather be very, very wrong. Speaking of very, very wrong, I was very wrong about the Cleveland Indians last year, so let's turn to them this year. I love Terry Francona. He's a player's manager. Players love to play for him. He's relaxed. He's loose. Guys perform very well for him. I love to see that. I do. I love to see that. Except the only guy who's not performing well is Yan Gomes. I mean, this is a guy who had 21 home runs in 2014. We were expecting the world from this guy, and it's gone progressively downward, sinkhole, quicksand, boom. 21 went to 12, went to 9. The dude hit 167 last year. Is that humanly possible? But look, could Yan Gomes hit 240 with 15 home runs? Yes, which is why you take him late in your drafts. Maybe you get lucky. Maybe you don't. But not very good. Not very good. There's a guy named Francisco Mejia, who's the third overall prospect for the Indians. He's a double-A guy, tops. But if he plays well, he could rise rapidly. If Yan Gomes plays poorly and Mejia plays well, you might see a little Mejia by the end of August. All right, first base, I think you're going to see a combo platter of Carlos Santana / Edwin Encarnacion. So let me cover them now. So 1, Carlos Santana was on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio and said that he might play a little outfield. I can see that if Michael Brantley's injured. If Michael Brantley's still injured, you could see Santana in the outfield and Encarnacion at first base. I think for the most part, assuming Brantley's healthy, you see Santana at first base and Encarnacion as the DH. Okay? That's what I think, but I think that they could move Santana around. But he's a very good hitter. I mean, he had 34 home runs last year, which was a career high. Didn't have as many RBIs as you would imagine, but I mean, he really played well. Can he sustain that? Maybe. He's going to go in the 5th or 6th round of drafts. Probably not a guy that I'm going to take. Doesn't make him a bad player, just not a guy that I'd look to take. Jason Kipnis is a guy I look to take at second base. Right? He's got that perfect blend of power and speed, pretty decent average, hit 275 last year, 23 home runs, 15 stolen bases. Can he replicate that again? I don't know, but I think he can give me 15 to 20 home runs and 15 to 20 stolen bases. So sure, I like him. And after, in drafts, I'm trying to look here. Where does Kipnis go? So you've got Altuve, Cano, Dozier, Odor, D. Gordon, and then Kinsler, Kipnis. So Kipnis was a 6th-round pick. I was looking at Kipnis had he been there for my spot in the 6th round. I took Aaron Sanchez, but I could have taken Kipnis. Had he been there, I might have done that. I might have. At shortstop, you got Francisco Lindor, who I absolutely love. I mean, I really, really am a fan of this guy. I think the power is getting better. The speed is there. The average is terrific. This is a late 2nd, early 3rd round player. If I can get Lindor in the 3rd round, I am psyched. Absolutely psyched. If I get him in the 2nd round, I'm a tad early, but I might be willing to do it. So in the labor draft, he actually went very early. He went in the middle of the 2nd round. I thought that was too early. In the FSTA, he went in the middle of the 3rd, which I thought was a great pick. But Lindor in the middle of the 2nd, the team who picked 8 took him. I don't know. It's a little aggressive for me, but, is it a terrible pick? No. He's a really good player. Here's an underrated player for you, Jose Ramirez. Dude's 24 years old. And he hits for average, he's got a little power, got a little speed, scores runs. There's nothing he can't do. I'm a big fan of this kid. I think he's a hitter. I first learned about him from Gene McCaffrey from Wise Guy Baseball. Gene had mentioned him, and I was like, who, really? And then all of a sudden, Gene may not have been right, because Gene liked him last year, 2 years ago, but he was right eventually. See, that's the thing when you're an expert. I get the guy right. I may not get the year right, but I get the guy right. Right? Right. See, Jose Ramirez, you look at the skill set and you go, this guy's going to be good. Do I know it's going to be 2017? Not always. It could be 2018, could 2019. But I know that this guy could be good. And that's the hard part about being an expert. You're not always right at the right time. You may have the right player, but you ever say, I was a year away from that guy. I had a guy a year before he was good. It means you're onto something. All right, in center field, I am a fan of Tyler Knockin. I do. I'm a fan. I like him. I like his skill set. I think he is a very heady, smart, gritty ball player. So last year, he struck out a bit too much for my liking. A little too much. Hit 296, 14 home runs, 6 RBIs, but he's a hard-nosed baseball player. There's always a spot in the lineup for a guy like that. If the Indians have a weakness, though, it's in the outfield. Brantley's not 100%. Lonnie Chisenhall's in right field. You know he's really not that great. I mean, 8 home runs, 57 RBIs. You got to do better than that for my outfield. I mean, this guy wakes up in the morning and aspires to be Nick Markakis. Brantley's injured. Brantley, we talked about him previously. This is a guy who was a third-round pick just a couple of years ago, but now he's sliding down drafts because he's not fully healthy. So, as much as I like Santana, Kipnis, Ramirez, and Lindor, I really don't like Brantley, Knockin, and Chisenhall. Those guys aren't winning you anything. At DH, though, the Indians signed Edwin Encarnacion. Paid him a whole lot of money, and I think he's worth every penny. I mean, listen to these numbers. 2012, 42-110. 2013, 36-104. 2014, 34-98. 2015, 39-111. 2016, 42-127. You are getting a middle-of-the-order hitter there with Edwin Encarnacion. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, does it? So, good job by the Indians. They've got Santana and Encarnacion for thump. They've got Lindor and Ramirez for speed. They got Kipnis to do a little bit of everything. Michael Brantley's a pretty good player when he's healthy. And then you got a couple other guys in the outfield who aren't going to kill you. There you go. The bullpen. Cody Allen's the closer. But is he really? Yes, he's a good player. I think he's a very good player. I think he's underrated. Had 32 saves last year. Had a whip of 1. Pretty good pitcher. Had let up 8 home runs. That was a bit much, but he's a good pitcher. But what makes him better is Andrew Miller. Andrew Miller is a star. A star is born with Andrew Miller. In 2015, his whip was .86. In 2016, it was .69. It got better. He still had 12 saves, but he is the ultimate effector. 74 and a third innings. 42 hits. 123 strikeouts. That's a lot of innings, and that's a lot of strikeouts. I mean, that is a grossly high number. I love this guy. Is he pitched out? I don't know. They used him a lot. So they got to be very judicious with him. Guys like him don't last for long. They don't. So they got to be very careful. They picked up Boone Logan, which was a good pickup because this way you don't have to play Andrew Miller all the time. They have Brian Shaw there. They've got Zach McAllister there. This is a decent bullpen. And Allen is the closer because Miller can give you a one inning save. He can give you a 2 inning save. He's useful. But starting pitching is where they're really good. Okay? This is where they're really good. First of all, Corey Kluber, absolute number 1 starter. Absolute number 1 starter. I mean, this guy's terrific. Now, he had a down year a couple of years ago. Remember in 2015? He had an ERA of 3.49, and people are like, oh, I don't know what I think about Corey Kluber. Only won 9 games. If you stuck with him, he came back this year and gave you an ERA of 3.14. And he struck out more than 1 guy per inning. I mean, he may have a pitch count early on, but this is a really good pitcher. Secondly, Carlos Carrasco. How good is Carlos Carrasco? But he hasn't pitched more than 180 innings except for one time in his career. In 2015, 183 innings, 216 strikeouts, 14 wins. I want to see a healthy Carlos Carrasco because when you do, he is dominant. So you got Kluber, Carrasco. Oh, by the way, Danny Salazar is there too. Danny Salazar is another guy who could be lights out. Can't stay healthy, but what if he could? What if he could? He had elbow issues, forearm issues. He had a lot of things. He came back in the World Series, did a good job. But you've got Kluber, Carrasco, and Salazar. I'm not sure there's a better threesome in the American League. You got a safe guy in Josh Tomlin who doesn't kill you. I don't really like him. And then you've got Trevor Bauer who has all the upside in the world as well. Still walks too many guys, but he strikes out a bunch and he's only 26 years old. What if I told you that Trevor Bauer was ready to take the next step up this year? Would you be shocked? I don't think you would be. So why are the Indians going to be really good? Kluber, Carrasco, Salazar, Bauer. 4 monsters. Miller and Allen, 2 great guys in the bullpen. Santana and Encarnacion who could hit 30 home runs. Kipnis, Ramirez, and Lindor. And you got one of the best managers in the game. So things are looking way, way, way up for the Cleveland Indians. Will they win a World Series this year? I'm not sure about that, but I know this is a really good team. And I'm excited to watch them. Right? This is no major league. Right? This is no Willie Mays Hayes and Roger Dorn. These guys are some really, really good players. Very impressive stuff. All right, pitchers and catchers are around. Every major league team has their guys in camp. This is when it starts to get exciting. Stay tuned to Scout Fantasy for all your baseball needs and news. We are always here to help you. And what I want you to do is I want you to sign up at scoutfantasy.com. Enter the promo code ROTO. That's ROTO. You pay for 1 month. We'll get you 2 more months for free. It's as simple as that. You get access to Dr. Roto, Sean Childs, Adam Ronis, 3 of the biggest winners in the fantasy industry. People who want to help you do well. Right? People who want you to win your league. Be a member of the Scout Army. Go on to the members forums. Ask your questions. Get involved. Be here. Be part of what we do. We do it really well, and we love what we do. And most importantly, we want you to win your leagues. All right, guys. Time now to put away the insurance cards. Put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Remember, use the promo code ROTO, ROTO, to sign up for Scout Fantasy. Have a great weekend. Be well. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!